My daughter called me whispering from a locked bathroom. Her voice was shaking. Daddy said if I leave, he'll make sure I never see my kids again. I asked one question. Is he still in the house? She whispered, yes. So I sent one text. 1 hour later, someone knocked at their back door, and my son-in-law finally learned my daughter was never as alone as he thought. My name is Raymond Carter. I am 69 years old, and for most of my life, I believed a father's job was simple. Protect your children when they are small, respect their choices when they are grown, and pray the world is kinder to them than it was to you. But nobody tells you what to do when your grown daughter calls from behind a locked bathroom door. Try not to cry too loudly, because the man she married is standing on the other side of the house, threatening to destroy her life. My daughter's name is Lily. She was 36. 2 children, a soft voice, strong heart. But the problem with strong hearts is this. They often stay too long trying to understand people who only understand control. Her husband's name was Grant. Grant was the kind of man people liked in public. Clean shirt, firm handshake, church smile, always helping carry chairs after family events, always saying, family is everything. That should have been my first warning, because people who say family is everything too often sometimes mean family is something they own. At first, I liked him. I really did. He treated Lily carefully when they dated, opened doors, called me sir, asked permission before proposing. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, Mr. Carter, I'll spend my life protecting her. I believed him. That was my mistake. Not because trusting is wrong, because charm is easiest to believe when your child is happy. For the first few years, things seemed normal. They bought a house, had 2 children, my grandson Noah, my granddaughter Sophie, beautiful kids, bright eyes, messy hair, the kind of children who make an old man forget his knees hurt. Then Lily changed. Slowly. Not enough for strangers to notice, but fathers notice silence. She stopped laughing with her whole face, stopped staying after dinner, stopped answering questions directly. When I asked, "You okay, sweetheart?" she would smile too quickly. "I'm just tired, Dad." Tired became her shield. Tired from work, tired from kids, tired from life. But tired does not make a woman flinch when her husband reaches for a glass too quickly. I saw that once. At Thanksgiving, Grant dropped a fork. It hit the floor loud. Lily jumped, not startled, afraid. Grant smiled and said, "Relax, babe." Everyone laughed. I didn't. Later, I asked her in the kitchen, "Does he scare you?" She looked toward the dining room, then whispered, "No, too fast." That answer stayed with me, because fear often speaks in speed. After that, I watched Grant differently. Not openly, quietly. I noticed how he corrected her stories, how he answered questions meant for her, how he joked about money in a way that made her shrink. If Lily said, "I was thinking about going back to school," Grant would laugh and say, "She can barely keep the laundry under control." People laughed. Lily smiled. I did not. One evening, he said something at dinner that I never forgot. Lily had made dessert. Sophie spilled water on the table. Lily got up quickly to clean it. Grant leaned back and said, "This is why I handle the serious stuff." The room went quiet for half a second. Then he smiled. "Relax, I'm joking." That was how he did it. Cruelty. Then humor. Damage. Then denial. He never left a mark in public. Just small cuts everyone was trained to ignore. The real change came after Lily quit her job. Grant said it made sense. Daycare was expensive. The kids needed her. He earned enough. At first, Lily said she wanted it too. But months later, she called me while driving to the grocery store. Her voice was low. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Did Mom ever ask you for grocery money?" I sat up. "What do you mean?" She laughed nervously. "Never mind. It's stupid." Lily. Silence. Then she said, "Grant gives me cash every Monday." I closed my eyes. "How much?" "200. For the whole week?" "Yes." "For you and the kids?" "Yes." "And if you need more?" She whispered, "He says I should plan better." That was financial control. But I didn't say it that way. Not then. Because if you name the cage too early, the person inside may defend the bars. So I said, "You know you can always call me." She replied quickly, "I know, but don't say anything." That became our pattern. She would reveal one small truth, then beg me not to act. "Grant checks receipts. Don't say anything. Grant doesn't like me seeing friends. Don't say anything. Grant says you interfere too much. Don't say anything." Every "don't say anything" felt like a hand over my mouth, but I stayed careful, because controlling men love turning protection into interference, and I did not want to make Lily's life harder. Then came the first public humiliation. Noah's 7th birthday party. Backyard. Balloons. Cake. Kids running everywhere. Grant's parents were there. Neighbors. Church friends. Lily had worked for 2 days to make everything perfect. When the cake came out, Sophie accidentally dropped one corner of the tablecloth. The juice spilled. The plates shifted. Nothing serious, but Grant's face changed. Just for a second. Then he smiled at the guests and said loudly, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Lily doesn't manage money or furniture." People laughed. Lily froze. Cake knife in her hand. Her eyes dropped. Noah looked confused. Sophie looked like she might cry. I took one step forward. Grant saw me. His smile widened. "Just a joke, Ray." I looked at him. It wasn't funny. The yard went quiet. Grant's father cleared his throat. Lily whispered, "Dad, please." Please. That word stopped me. Not because Grant deserved peace, because Lily was still the one who would pay for my anger after everyone left. So I stepped back. Grant won that round. He knew it. I could see it in his eyes. After that, he started keeping Lily away more. Fewer visits. Shorter calls. Excuses. Kids sick. Car trouble. Busy weekend. Then one day, Lily came alone to my house. No kids. No Grant. She walked in and stood by the door like she was waiting for permission. I said, "Sweetheart." She broke. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just folded into herself. I held her while she cried like a little girl. The kind of crying adults do when they have waited too long. Finally, she whispered, "I think I need to leave him." I did not say. Finally. I did not say. "I told you." I said, "Okay." Because when someone is climbing out of a fire, you don't lecture them about smoke. You hold the door open. We made a plan. Quietly. Copies of documents. Birth certificates. School records. Bank information. A separate phone. Cash hidden in the lining of an old purse. A safe place. Not my house at first. Too obvious. A place Grant didn't know. My sister's cabin outside town. Lily was scared. Not of leaving. Of what Grant would become when he lost control. I told her, "You won't be alone." She looked at me. "You don't know him when he's angry." I said, "No, but I know men like him when they're exposed." That was the first time I told Lily something I had kept hidden. Before I became the quiet old man everyone knew, I spent 28 years working in emergency response coordination. Not a police officer, not a soldier, but the man agencies called when situations got complicated. Domestic crises, disaster shelters, missing persons logistics, protective coordination. I knew lawyers, advocates, retired officers, social workers, people who knew how to move quietly and legally. Grant thought I was just an old widower with a garden. That was his mistake. But we had to move carefully, because the most dangerous moment is not when someone controls you. It is when they realize they are losing control. For 2 weeks, Lily prepared. Small things. A sweater here. Documents scanned there. A spare key copied. Grant noticed something. Of course he did. Controllers notice independence the way dogs hear thunder. The night everything changed, Lily called at 9:14 p.m. I remember the exact time, because I looked at the clock while answering. Her voice was a whisper. "Dad," one word, and I knew. What happened? He found the documents. My blood went cold. "Where are you?" "Bathroom." "Locked." "Yes." "Kids?" "Asleep." "Where's Grant?" Silence. Then she whispered, "In the kitchen." I heard something crash in the background. Then Grant's voice. Muffled. Angry. "Lily, open the door." She started breathing fast. "Dad," he said, "if I leave, he'll make sure I never see the kids again." I stood up slowly. My body felt old for half a second. Then it didn't. I asked, "Did he touch you?" "No." "Did he threaten to?" "He said I'd regret making him look bad." Grant pounded on the bathroom door. Lily gasped. I said, "Listen to me carefully. Put the phone on speaker and place it near the sink. Keep your voice calm." She whispered, "Okay." Then I sent one text, just one, to a woman named Marisol Vega. 3 words. "Lily. Tonight. Now." Marisol replied in less than 10 seconds. Address confirmed. Rolling. Most people do not understand what safety networks look like. They imagine drama, sirens, shouting. But real protection often starts with a quiet text to the right person. Marisol ran a domestic crisis response team connected with legal advocates and off-duty security escorts. Everything documented. Everything lawful. Everything careful. Then I called my attorney. Then I called my nephew, Aaron, who lived 12 minutes from Lily. Then I stayed on the phone. Grant shouted again. "Open the door." Lily said, "I need space." Grant laughed. "Space? You don't get space in my house." "My house. Not our house." That told me everything. He continued, "You think your father can save you? That old man can barely save himself." Lily looked at the phone. I could hear her crying silently. I said, "Do not answer him." Grant kept going. "You leave, and I'll tell the court you're unstable. I'll tell them you're depressed. I'll tell them you abandoned the children." There it was. The threat. Clear. Recorded. Because my phone was recording too. I said quietly, "Keep him talking." Lily whispered, "What?" "Keep him talking." Calmly. She swallowed, then said through the door, "Grant, why would you say that? You know I would never abandon the kids." He laughed. "You think truth matters? I know how this works. I have money. You have nothing." I closed my eyes. Men like him always say the quiet part eventually. Lily said, "Please don't do this." Grant replied, "You should have thought of that before calling your father." That sentence mattered, because it proved he knew I was on the phone, and still kept threatening. Arrogance is helpful sometimes. It likes witnesses until it realizes they count. 48 minutes later, the first knock came. Not the front door. The back door. 3 firm knocks. Grant stopped mid-sentence. "What the hell?" Lily whispered. "Dad." I said, "Stay where you are." Another knock. Then a woman's voice. Calm. Professional. "Mr. Harper. My name is Marisol Vega. We're here for Lily and the children. We are not entering without consent, but law enforcement has been notified and is nearby." Grant went silent, then exploded. "Get off my property." Marisol's voice stayed calm. "We're on the back patio. Lily requested assistance. This is documented." I didn't hear her request anything. I said into the phone, "Lily, say it loudly." Lily's voice shook. I requested help. Grant cursed. The bathroom door handle rattled. I stood so fast my chair fell backward. But Marisol spoke again. "Mr. Harper, step away from the bathroom door." There was another voice outside. Male. Calm. "Aaron. My nephew." "Grant, don't be stupid." Grant shouted, "Ray sent you." Aaron said, "No." Lily asked for help. That mattered. Legally. Emotionally. Everything. Grant hated it. Because controlling men can handle being opposed by another man. They cannot handle the person they control being recognized as the decision-maker. Then the front doorbell rang. Law enforcement. 2 officers. A welfare check. Documented threats. Children in the home. Everything exactly as it should be. Grant's voice changed instantly. Soft. Polished. Confused. What is going on? My wife is having an emotional episode. There it was. The mask. But this time, the mask had arrived late. Lily opened the bathroom door when officers entered. She walked out holding the phone. Face pale. Hands shaking. But standing. That mattered. Grant tried to step toward her. One officer said, "Sir, stay where you are." Grant smiled. A fake wounded smile. "Officer, this is a misunderstanding. My wife has anxiety. Her father escalates things." Lily looked at him, and for the first time in years, she said clearly, "No, I'm afraid of you." The room changed. Not loudly, but completely. Marisol entered through the back, with a female advocate. Aaron stayed outside with the children's bags Lily had packed earlier and hidden in the laundry room. That was part of the plan Grant never found. Noah woke up first. Then Sophie. They were scared. Sophie cried when she saw the officers. Lily knelt and hugged them. We're going to Grandpa's sister's cabin for a little while. Noah looked at Grant. Is Dad coming? Lily said softly, No. Grant's face hardened, then softened when he noticed the officer watching. That was his whole life. Hard when alone, soft when seen. 1 hour and 17 minutes after my text, Lily and the children were out of that house. Not rescued by force. Not dramatically stolen away. Removed through documented consent, legal support, and witnesses. That is how you beat men like Grant. You don't give them chaos. You give them paperwork. The next morning, Grant began his second attack. Texts, voicemails, emails. To Lily, to me, to my relatives. First apologetic, then angry, then threatening, then apologetic again. That cycle tells you everything. A man who loves you doesn't rotate between roses and threats in the same hour. He left one voicemail that became important later. Lily, if you don't bring my kids back, I'll make sure every judge knows you're unstable. Then another. Ray, you think you're smart? You have no idea what I can do. He was wrong. I had a very clear idea, and I had been preparing for it. By 10 a.m., my attorney had filed for emergency protective orders and temporary custody protections. By noon, Lily gave a formal statement. By evening, the children were safe at the cabin. Grant still thought this was a family argument. It wasn't anymore. It was a record. The next few days were the hardest. Not because of Grant, because Lily kept doubting herself. That is what control does. Even after escaping, the cage keeps talking inside your head. She said, maybe I overreacted. I asked, would you tell Sophie to stay with a man who threatened her children? She cried, no. Then why would you tell yourself? She had no answer. Noah struggled too. He asked me, is Dad bad? That question broke me. Children should not have to sort adults into villains and heroes. I said, your dad has made choices that hurt people. Noah looked down. Did I hurt him? No. Then why was he so mad? I sat beside him. Because some adults get angry when they can't control what others feel. He thought about that, then whispered, Mom looked scared a lot. I closed my eyes. He had seen it. Of course he had. Children always live in the weather adults pretend is invisible. The first hearing came fast. Grant arrived in a Navy suit. Clean shave. Sad face. His attorney painted him as a concerned husband. A father blindsided by his wife's emotional instability. They said Lily had been influenced by me. That I had always disliked Grant. That I was controlling. That I had orchestrated a dramatic removal. I sat there quietly, because the truth was about to speak. Marisol testified first. Calm, professional, detailed. She explained the request for help, the documented safety process, the threats heard on the call, the children's condition. Then the officer testified, then the voicemails, then the recording from the bathroom. Grant's voice filled the courtroom. You think truth matters? I know how this works. I have money. You have nothing. The judge looked at Grant. Grant looked at his attorney. His attorney looked down. That was the first crack. Then Lily testified. She shook the whole time. But she didn't break. She described the money control, the isolation, the threats, the way Grant told her nobody would believe her. At one point, Grant shook his head like he was disappointed in her. The judge saw it. So did I. Then came the hidden twist. Grant's company. He worked as a finance director for a regional development firm. Respectable job. Good salary. Big image. But during discovery, my attorney noticed something strange. Grant had been using company legal resources to draft personal custody threats. Worse, he had charged private investigator consultations to a corporate card under risk assessment. When his employer was subpoenaed, they were not pleased. Grant had used his professional position to intimidate his wife, and now his employer was part of the record. 2 weeks later, he was placed on leave. He blamed Lily, then me, then Marisol, then the judge. Men like Grant never blame the mirror. The custody process continued. Grant fought hard, not because he suddenly loved parenting, because custody was leverage. He wanted Lily afraid. He wanted money pressure. He wanted control through the children. But documentation kept working against him. Every threat, every message, every financial restriction, every witness. Each one became a brick in the wall he could not climb. Then came the moment I never expected. Grant's own mother called Lily. Lily almost didn't answer. I told her, "Only if you want to." She answered on speaker. Grant's mother was crying. "I'm sorry." Lily said nothing. His mother continued. I heard the recording. Silence. Then she said, "He talks like his father did." That sentence froze the room. Grant's father had been dead 10 years. People remembered him as strict, successful, traditional. Now suddenly, a family pattern emerged. Control wearing respectability. Fear mistaken for leadership. His mother whispered, "I should have said something years ago." Lily cried after that call. Not because it fixed anything, because it confirmed she had not imagined it. That matters. When you have been manipulated for years, confirmation feels like oxygen. Months passed. Temporary orders became stronger. Grant's visitation was structured. Communication moved through a monitored app. Financial disclosures exposed hidden accounts. He had been preparing for divorce too, quietly. But unlike Lily, his preparation involved hiding assets. The judge did not like that. At the final custody hearing, Grant tried one last performance. He stood and said, "I love my children more than anything." He looked at Noah and Sophie's photo on the table. Then at Lily. "I just want my family back." For a second, the room felt almost human. Then Lily's attorney played one final voicemail. Grant's voice. "If you take them from me, I'll make sure they hate you." That sentence ended his performance. Because love does not threaten to poison children. Control does. The judge granted Lily primary custody. Grant received supervised visitation pending counseling and compliance. Financial support was ordered. Communication restricted. His hidden assets were addressed. His employer terminated him after their internal review. Not because of the divorce. Because he had misused company systems and funds. Grant walked out of court smaller than I had ever seen him. No shouting. No final threat. Just a man realizing the world had finally heard how he sounded behind closed doors. Afterward, Lily sat in my truck and cried. Not happy crying. Exhausted crying. She said, "I feel guilty." I said, "I know." Why? Because you survived someone who trained you to feel responsible for his consequences. She looked at me, then whispered, "I don't know how to be normal anymore." I started the engine. Then don't start with normal. What do I start with? Safe. That became our word. Safe. Safe mornings. Safe dinners. Safe phone calls. Safe bedtime routines. Safe silence. The children healed slowly. Noah stopped checking windows after a few months. Sophie stopped asking if Dad was mad. Lily got a job at a small accounting office. Not glamorous. Peaceful. She rented a little house near mine. Yellow door. Small garden. The kids painted birdhouses for the fence. One evening, almost a year later, we sat on her back porch. The same kids who once left through a back door in fear were now running through one laughing. Lily watched them, then said, "That knock saved my life." I shook my head. "No." She looked at me. "You opening the bathroom door did." She cried softly. But this time, the tears were different. Not fear. Release. Grant tried apologizing once. Through the monitored app. "I miss my family. I'm sorry things got out of hand." Lily showed me the message. What do I say? I read it, then handed it back. "Nothing if you don't want to." She looked at it for a long time, then deleted the draft response. That was growth. Not a speech. Not revenge. Just choosing silence, where old fear demanded explanation. Years later, Noah asked about that night. He was older then, old enough to understand more. He said, "Grandpa, did you send those people?" I nodded. "Yes." "Were you scared?" I looked at him. More than I showed. He thought about that, then asked, "Did you hate Dad?" I answered carefully. I hated what he did. Noah looked down. "Is that different?" Yes. He nodded. I think I understand. Then he said something that stayed with me. I remember the back door. I thought monsters came through front doors, but help came through the back. I couldn't speak for a moment, because children remember details adults forget. That back door became something sacred to us, not because of fear, because it was the door my daughter walked through when she chose herself. My son-in-law thought threats worked because they had always worked in private. He thought money made him believable. He thought fear made my daughter weak. He thought I was just an old man who would panic, shout, and make everything worse. But I had learned something long before that night. When someone builds power on silence, you don't fight them with noise. You fight them with witnesses, with records, with calm people knocking at the right door at the right time. My son-in-law threatened my daughter in the dark, but 1 hour after my text, the knock at the back door became the sound of his control finally ending.